a little-known, rarely used procedure in Congress, needing just 218 signatures. It just forced the Washington establishment to face one of the biggest political bombshells around. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really diving deep into this, well, extraordinary moment. It's about institutional defiance, political warfare, really. We've got sources detailing this powerful, almost arcane House discharge procedure that's Rule XV and how it was just used explosively in a bipartisan push for the Epstein Files Transparency Act. So our mission here is to unpack this procedural nuclear option, you could call it. We'll look at the deep political splits it exposed right inside the House GOP, especially among conservatives, and dig into the intense pressure campaign the White House launched immediately to try and stop it. They clearly saw it as a partisan ambush.
Yeah, what's really fascinating, I think, is how this very technical, almost bureaucratic rule collided head-on with raw political power. I mean, the petition succeeding, which is incredibly rare, as you said, it didn't just bypass the Speaker and House leadership. It instantly showed these fractures right across the Republican Party. And the official reaction, it was swift. You had personal calls from the president, this extraordinary meeting in the White House Situation Room with top law enforcement officials.
Wow.
It was accountability, demanding transparency through procedure, and the political elite, well, they push back hard with pretty much everything they had.
Okay, let's break down this procedural weapon then, because it feels like the key leverage here. The discharge procedure, House Rule XV, Clause 2. For anyone not familiar, maybe explain it simply.
Sure. It's basically a mechanism specifically designed so any member can force a vote on a bill. It lets them go around the normal gatekeepers, the majority leader, the committee where the bills may be stuck, or the Rules Committee.
So it's a way to hold leadership accountable if they're trying to bury something.
Exactly. It's the ultimate check, really, on the Speaker's power to completely control the agenda. Successful discharge petitions. Very few in House history. There's usually a high political cost for signing one.
Okay, so how does this high-risk process actually play out? What are the steps that made this one feel so tense?
Right. So first, there's a time element. A bill or resolution, it has to be sitting in committee, not reported out, for at least 30 legislative days. That's the signal leadership is effectively killing it.
30 days, okay.
Then any member can file the actual discharge motion. But the real challenge, the really hard part, and where the political risk comes in, is getting those 218 signatures.
The magic number.
Yeah.
A majority of the 435 members.
Precisely. And our sources really highlight something crucial here. The names of everyone who signs. They're made public, updated daily in the congressional record.
Ah, so everyone can see who's taking a stand, often against their own party leaders.
Exactly. You know exactly who number 218 is. It's very visible, very recorded pressure.
And hitting 218 isn't even the end of it, right? There are built-in delays.
That's right. Congress likes its cooling off periods for these kinds of spontaneous uprisings. Once you get 218 signatures, the list is frozen, the motion goes on the calendar, and then you have to wait another 7 legislative days.
7 more days.
Yep. Only after that week can a signatory actually call up the motion on the floor. And even then, debate is limited. Just 20 minutes, split equally. The whole thing is like an institutional obstacle course designed to discourage exactly what just happened.
So why did this issue, the Epstein Files, manage to succeed procedurally where so many others fail?
Well, I think it comes down to the, let's say, bipartisan toxicity of the issue itself. The Epstein Files Transparency Act was simple on its face and pretty compelling. Just demanded the Justice Department release all related materials, flight logs, travel records, communications within 30 days.
And it was led by 2 interesting figures.
Yeah, often contrarian figures, right? Democrat Ro Khanna and Republican Thomas Massie. That pairing itself tells you something.
Okay, now let's get into the political showdown. This is where those deep, maybe ugly rifts in the GOP really came out. How did the party split?
It was stark. All House Democrats signed the petition. Unity there. But on the Republican side, the majority party, only 4. Just 4 members broke ranks.
Who were they?
Representatives Thomas Massie, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert. These 4 defied their own leadership, defied the party line.
Only 4. Why so few? Was the rest of the party just backing Speaker Johnson?
Officially, yes. House GOP leadership, Speaker Johnson included, they publicly opposed the bill. They called the petition unnecessary.
Unnecessary. What was the reasoning?
The Speaker argued the Oversight Committee already had an investigation going, that it had released tens of thousands of records already. And he also raised concerns that this specific petition didn't go far enough to protect victims' identities. That was the public stance.
But if the goal is transparency, and you've got bipartisan support for that goal, why would conservative leadership oppose the mechanism that forces it to the floor? Seems counterintuitive.
Control. It really boils down to control, doesn't it? The discharge petition snatches control of the floor agenda away from the Speaker. If this petition works, it kind of normalizes the procedure.
Sets a precedent.
Exactly. Future coalitions, conservative rebels, moderate groups, bipartisan alliances, they could potentially weaponize it to bypass leadership on all sorts of other issues. So for the establishment, the risk wasn't just this topic, it was institutional.
And that drama over getting the 218th signature, that really underscores how high the stakes felt.
Oh, absolutely. It was pure, almost frantic institutional delay tactics. Sources reported GOP leadership actively held off swearing in a newly elected Democrat, Adelita Grijalva from Arizona, for 7 weeks.
7 weeks, why?
Because everyone knew she was going to be the crucial 218th signature. It was a visible, direct attempt to manipulate the House rules just to keep control.
And that move triggered some incredibly sharp rhetoric from the opposition, didn't it?
It did. Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries publicly accused the Republicans of, and this is a direct quote, running a pedophile protection program by delaying the vote.
Wow, that's strong language.
It shows how explosive things got. That's not your typical political jab. It's a direct, really charged accusation designed to put maximum pressure on every single Republican, basically forcing them to justify why they were enabling this procedural block.
And the pressure wasn't just rhetorical. Rhett Massey, one of the 4 Republicans who signed, he claimed GOP leaders were in full panic, said they'd actually threatened some co-signers, politically speaking.
Yeah, that really highlights the personal and political risk those 4 took. I mean, you're talking potential loss of committee seats, maybe funding, just for signing a petition demanding a vote on transparency.
A profound challenge to party discipline.
And it worked this time. It actually worked.
Which leads us straight into the White House getting involved. This is what really pushed it from a House spat into, well, a national political situation. Why did the Trump administration bring out the heavy artillery for a procedural vote in the House?
Because, from their perspective, the petition succeeding wasn't just about procedure. They saw it as a direct, politically motivated attack. They framed the whole transparency effort not as legitimate legislation, but as a partisan smear job by Democrats.
So the response had to be equally aggressive.
Immediate and aggressive, yeah, to crush the momentum before it built.
And the president himself got involved in damage control. That seems highly unusual for this kind of vote.
Highly unusual. President Trump personally called the GOP signatories. Representative Boebert, for instance, she described getting a very early wake-up call from him about her signature. He also apparently played phone tag with Representative Nancy Mace.
Did Mace back down?
No, interestingly. Reports say she sent him a detailed message explaining why she supported it, stating very clearly, "I will never abandon other survivors."
So the pressure was direct, presidential level, but didn't sway everyone.
Exactly. And the president didn't stop there. He went public, denounced the whole thing on Truth Social, called it the Jeffrey Epstein hoax. He explicitly said it was a distraction cooked up by Democrats and warned, his words, only a very bad or stupid Republican would fall into that trap.
The message seems pretty clear. Sign this, and you're either dumb or helping the enemy.
That was the unmistakable message, yes.
How far did the White House go in mobilizing the government apparatus for this counterattack?
The level of involvement was frankly stunning. You had top administration officials, Attorney General Pam Bondi, Deputy AG Todd Blanche, FBI Director Kash Patel holding a meeting about this House effort in the White House Situation Room with Representative Boebert.
The Situation Room for a House procedure.
Yes, that location alone tells you how seriously they viewed the threat. The highest levels of law enforcement and political leadership discussing a pending House discharge petition. It speaks volumes.
And the official line from the White House. The press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, she didn't detail the meeting, did she?
No, she declined to detail the conversations, but somewhat ironically claimed the meeting itself showed a level of transparency.
Right. So that brings us back to these dueling narratives we see so often.
Absolutely. On one side, you had Democrats pushing the petition, maybe helped by strategically released snippets of emails to dial up the political heat. Things like that 2011 email from Epstein to Ghislaine Maxwell claiming a victim spent hours at my house with him, Trump. and noting Trump was the dog that hasn't barked.
And there was another one.
A 2019 email reportedly from Epstein claiming, of course he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. Those kinds of leaks definitely fueled the fire.
Okay, so leaked emails painting a picture of potential knowledge or cover-up on one side.
And on the other side, the administration aggressively pushing back. Their counter-narrative was that the documents already released through the oversight process prove absolutely nothing. Press Secretary Leavitt accused Democrats flat out of leaking selectively to create a fake narrative to smear President Trump.
The cherry-picking argument.
That's the core conservative defense, yes. That this is just political clickbait using selectively released info.
What about FBI Director Kash Patel? He was personally accused of orchestrating a cover-up for the administration. How did he respond?
Patel, who's known as a close ally of the president, he strenuously denied it. His line was consistent. The FBI has released all credible information and everything lawfully permitted to be released. He essentially blamed any limitations on that controversial 2008 non-prosecution agreement.
The deal made years before.
Right. He called it the original sin that's hampered the case for years. So the administration's message was, we are being transparent within the legal constraints. It's the opposition that's exploiting old limitations for political gain now.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what does it all mean for how things work or don't work in Washington? We saw this rare, successful institutional challenge. Pushing for accountability runs smack into a really aggressive political counter-operation that framed the whole thing as a partisan attack.
Yeah, the success of this discharge petition, it's pretty monumental, not just for the specific files that might get released, but because it proved this procedural loophole actually can work, even when facing extreme pressure from the top. It really is a weapon designed to overcome entrenched power.
And given the White House reaction, how defensive it was, and the split it exposed right inside the House GOP.
You have to see it as a critical moment, potentially an inflection point. It showed that rank-and-file members, conservatives in this case, but potentially any coalition, can get around leadership if the issue is explosive enough and they find the political will.
So a demonstration of bottom-up power, in a way.
Absolutely. So the big question going forward, I think, is this. Will this rarely used high-risk tool now become the go-to mechanism? Will rank-and-file members start using it more often to force transparency or accountability, especially when the D.C. establishment or their own party leadership tries to bury politically sensitive issues?
A potential shift in power dynamics.
It could be.
Yeah.
This successful act of defiance might just have provided a new roadmap for future institutional rebellions against the party line. Something to watch, for sure.